Welcome back to the Deep Dive, where we streamline your pursuit of knowledge, turning, overwhelming sources into crystal clear insights. Today, our mission is a little different. We're taking a deep dive into a single source, a short, highly visual YouTube video.
Right.
And it's focused entirely on this intricate meditative world of creative journaling and paper art.
It's an excellent challenge because we aren't analyzing text or data. We're analyzing, well, sensation, composition, and digital influence.
Exactly.
Our goal for you today is to unpack how this captivating, really soothing digital content translates into potent fuel for physical, analog paper art.
A kind of inspiration shortcut.
That's the idea. We want to show you the mechanics behind it.
And the moment you hit play, you are just immediately enveloped in this sense of tranquility. It's like a visual warm blanket.
It really is.
The entire piece is committed to this incredibly gentle, comforting aesthetic, all defined by these soft, warm yellow tones. It's just visually stunning.
And it blends that step-by-step process with this profound, almost intentional calm.
Okay, let's unpack this. Maybe starting with how the creator actually engineered that feeling.
Well, what's fascinating here is understanding the deliberate engineering of the video's sensory blueprint. This content isn't just, documenting a craft.
Right, it's performing a dual function.
It is. It's visual instruction blended with a highly meditative, almost therapeutic experience. The creator even explicitly tags it.
Oh yeah, I saw that. ASMR journal yellow with little flower emoji.
Exactly. That immediately signals that the precise, quiet sounds and the focused step-by-step actions are designed to trigger that autonomous sensory meridian response.
So we're talking about more than just some nice background music, right?
Yeah.
These are sounds specifically manufactured to relax you.
Yeah, which then reduces the cognitive load, the stress of starting a new creative task.
They're engineering the sounds of creation itself.
Precisely. Think about the audio cues you hear. The crisp, gentle sound of paper tearing, the soft thwack of a glue stick.
A little snip of scissors.
All of it. These nonverbal cues are highly effective ASMR triggers because they focus your attention, they slow your breathing, they basically put you into a receptive, almost trance-like state.
You're being lulled into creativity.
Yes, which makes all the next artistic steps feel almost frictionless.
That makes so much sense. If you watch one of those frantic, sped-up tutorials, you feel stressed and intimidated before you even pick up your supplies.
Right.
This, on the other hand, feels like a visual invitation to just relax. But let's talk about that aesthetic foundation, the committed yellow palette. I love the warmth, but I do have to ask, isn't relying on one single dominant color, yellow and its close cousins, a bit limiting artistically?
That's a critical question.
Wouldn't a wider palette offer more creative freedom?
You'd think so, but it speaks directly to the video's success as a blueprint. This content proves the power of creative constraint.
Oh, interesting.
By sticking so rigidly to that warm yellow, gold, and cream palette, the artist completely eliminates the major source of beginner overwhelm.
Choosing colors that harmonize.
Choosing colors, exactly.
So the limitation becomes the shortcut. You don't have to wonder if, blue and red will clash
Right.
because the artist already dictated the rules
Yeah,
and showed you the perfect result.
precisely. The viewer gains clarity and confidence instantly. And that aesthetic commitment is what resonates so powerfully with that massive audience.
471,000 likes is.
Yeah.
That's a huge number for a short.
It's a huge metric. It shows people are craving this structured, peaceful approach. They aren't just liking the butterflies. They're responding to the perfect harmony of texture and color achieved through that disciplined selection.
So it's both highly inspiring and deeply relaxing.
A rare blend.
And I think that massive engagement also raises a question we should keep in mind and maybe circle back to later.
Yeah.
Does this level of perfectly polished, curated content set the aesthetic bar so high that it might actually intimidate a beginner?
Yeah.
If every piece you see is flawless, it might make you feel discouraged by your own first attempts.
That is an important tension to hold on to. But to understand the polish, we need to understand the structure. Here's where it gets really interesting.
The deconstruction.
Deconstructing the physical artistry itself, because the power is all in the layering.
Agreed. When you analyze the finished page, it's not some flat scrapbook page. It's a three-dimensional landscape of paper.
Totally.
The foundation begins not on a white page, but with a soft yellow wash or some kind of blending applied across the whole page.
And that subtle base color is crucial. It acts as a unifying filter for everything that gets layered on top.
So the layering process is really the core instruction here.
It is. We see the central motifs being introduced first, those delicate butterfly motifs. They're often layered over a contrasting paper shape, maybe a distressed card or a simple square.
Which allows them to pop, so they don't just sink into that yellow background.
Exactly. They don't just look stuck on, they look almost three-dimensional.
And the texture, there's a brilliant contrast in materials.
Yeah.
You have the soft, blended paper base, then the crisp, layered edges of the butterfly.
And then the creator introduces the floral elements, these dense yellow and gold chrysanthemum-like clusters. They function almost like a natural frame.
Yeah, they hug the main text blocks and give the page some real weight and density.
And this is where the detailed materials really start to matter. We get a glimpse of this supply sheet, right?
Yeah, the circular watercolor style stickers.
With all those varying shades of yellow, gold, soft orange. Even these small, repetitive shapes contribute to that overarching yellow commitment. But then, if we look at the final touches, we notice a dimensional shift.
They aren't relying entirely on flat paper stickers anymore.
Oh,
Wait, I remember that.
Yeah.
We go from paper, which is all matte and soft, to actual small gold beads or pearls placed so strategically.
right.
That's a huge commitment in material, bringing in almost jewelry-grade elements for a journal page.
It is, and it's strategic. These dimensional elements add that high-gloss texture that catches the light. When you contrast the matte, soft background with the shiny, hard gold beads.
You generate visual interest and a sense of luxury, almost.
Yeah, that is a core takeaway for anyone creating paper art. Visual interest is so often found in the contrast of textures.
Okay, so beyond the visual components, color, the flowers, the dimension, there's the narrative content, the text-based elements that provide an anchoring theme for the whole collage.
And the choice of textual elements really highlights the skill of the artist here. We can pull out 4 distinct pieces of text that together tell a story.
Okay.
First, a tiny, almost subliminal label at the top that clearly reads visual inspiration. It's self-referential, you know? It reinforces the goal of the piece.
There had this deliberate contrast, which is my favorite part of the whole composition. They pair those delicate, ephemeral butterfly motifs with a vintage-style label reading H.W. Miller Hardware number 45.
Exactly. Why does that work so well?
It grounds it.
It grounds the piece. The flowers and butterflies represent nature, lightness, fleeting beauty. The hardware label, which is a great example of ephemera, and we should probably define that since it's key to this style.
Right, so ephemera, in this context, are just paper items, like old tickets, receipts, labels, things that were originally meant to be thrown away that now lend this crucial nostalgic texture to the art.
Yes, and it's the contrast between the fleeting and the durable that gives the page its complexity.
That tension.
That tension adds intellectual weight. Then, alongside the hardware label, they include the motivational phrase, "Go where your heart takes you."
Which transforms the page from just a simple aesthetic exercise into something more personal.
A source of encouragement.
It gives the viewer a thematic entry point. And finally, anchoring the base, there's that circular stamp-style element that reads, "Flower Love." It just summarizes the dominant natural motif in a concise, aesthetically pleasing way.
It completes the narrative loop.
So we've deconstructed the precise elements, the layering, the color harmony, but now let's bridge that gap to the so what.
This video is a perfect case study in how the digital structure acts as a true catalyst for analog creation. For you, the listener, looking to gain knowledge quickly and thoroughly, this content provides an inspiration shortcut precisely because of how it's curated.
It functions like a compositional formula, not just a list of ingredients. Instead of diving into a 30-minute tutorial that explores, 5 different techniques and leaves you wondering which path to choose,
Right.
this short clip provides a clear, curated template. It shows you the finished product, the exact color story, and the visual cues for the sequence of layering.
The power is entirely in its format efficiency. We are all constantly dealing with information overload. The short-form video bypasses tutorial fatigue. By combining the soothing ASMR with highly structured steps, it eliminates the major pain points of the creative process: fear of the blank page and indecision about composition.
It's the cognitive template in action.
It is.
It essentially eliminates the guesswork of composition and color harmony. You don't have to stress over whether your central motif should be placed high or low, or which colors pair well. The video has already proven that this combination works. The decision is made for you.
And this structured viewing experience dramatically reduces the psychological friction for you as the viewer. By providing such a clear aesthetic guide, it makes taking that first step much easier.
Which probably results in quicker initiation of the creative process.
Exactly. It turns abstract inspiration into concrete, actionable steps. Digital curation leading directly to physical creation.
And the use of ephemera itself is a huge creative cue. By including things like labels and stamps, the video signals to you that inspiration isn't limited to dedicated craft supplies.
It can be found in the everyday, the forgotten, the functional like an old hardware label.
It reminds us that journaling is a process of collection and arrangement, not just creation from scratch.
It's an exercise in juxtaposition. By contrasting the delicate butterfly with the industrial label, they teach you, through action rather than lecture, how to create that engaging visual friction.
So, to synthesize this deep dive,
Yeah.
we've explored the deliberate blend of really sensory engineering and visual composition that defines this whole journaling aesthetic. We saw the dedication to color, the function of ASMR for tranquility, and the careful selection and layering of these contrasting elements, ephemera and dimensional textures, to build depth.
And we established that this digital source provides concrete visual and textual inspiration that can be immediately applied to physical paper crafting. The video is effective because it's a complete, efficient package.
Meditation, instruction, and stunningly cohesive visual results.
All delivered in a format designed to reduce creative friction.
It's a powerful lesson in how curation and constraint are absolutely key to unlocking inspiration, especially when you're dealing with the material overload of modern crafting supplies.
You don't need access to everything. You just need a perfect, harmonized example of how to use a few things exceptionally well.
Which brings us back to that tension we identified earlier.
It does. Given how perfectly curated, flawless, and harmonized this digital presentation is, where every element is so intentional and polished, this leaves us with a final provocative thought for you to consider as you wrap up this deep dive.
The digital realm allows for endless retakes, perfect lighting, ideal composition. Knowing that, how does the act of watching such a polished, perfect creative process influence the creative freedom and maybe the acceptance of necessary imperfection in your own subsequent analog journaling efforts?
Does that digital ideal make your physical process feel pressured to be equally flawless? Or does the clarity of the blueprint actually free you up to experiment? What stands out to you about that contrast between digital polish and the sometimes messy, spontaneous nature of physical paper art?
Something to mull over as you gather your own paper and perhaps a few gold beads. Thank you for joining us for the deep dive.
We'll see you next time.